Hello, everyone. I'm going to wait a few more minutes as people start trickling in before we start with introductions. But it's nice to see some familiar faces and names. If you are joining with Otter or you're using a transcription service, just send me a chat to let me know because I see a few popping up. And I just want to make sure that everybody has what they need in order to attend in the way that's most accessible to them. Just an FYI, we are recording and there is Otter at the top that has an automatic transcript. So you can click that link and you'll be able to see and hear what we're saying throughout the duration of the program. And you'll also be able to watch this back. Thank you. I got yours, Isabel. I'm gonna give that a few more minutes and then I'm just gonna get started with the discussion so that we can meet Rachel and Edward. I know you guys are excited about this topic and this conversation, so.
As are we. Hi, guys. Nice to meet you all.
Hi, Tyrone. Nice to meet you. Yeah, and while we wait, feel free to drop in where you are based and also your role in filmmaking. If you have multiple roles, if you're a multi-hyphenate, that is okay too. We like to know more about you. And this is going to be like a really casual office hours. I want us to work together on this topic and to talk amongst each other. I know some people don't feel comfortable being on camera showing their faces, but I trust me, it's going to be fun. It is 4:32 on a Thursday. It's Friday Junior, so this is going to be like a really casual conversation.
And I swear we don't bite. We're super nice, so we wanted to be interactive as well.
They are nice. Okay, there's more people coming in, so I'm going to keep admitting. And while I'm doing that, go ahead. Where are you guys from? And what is your primary roles in filmmaking? You drop that in the chat. Or raise your hand if you want to introduce yourself.
I'll go first.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Angelo. I'm a writer-director, and I'm in the middle of 3 different documentary projects. I had directed a movie called The Woman Who Wasn't There, which was on Investigation Discovery. And this will be, so I've directed 4 previous documentaries, and I'm in the middle of a documentary short that has an AI art component that I'm really, really excited about. It took me 8 months to find the right team of artists. And it took me 2 years to actually find the perfect time to actually film it. I found the story a while back, but then, sometimes you just have to wait until the subject's ready, you're ready, and that it's the right time to tell it. So lots of good stuff in the works.
Thank you. Wow, congratulations, though. I bet you're excited.
I really am. I mean, finding the artistic team just signed on today. It took quite a while to make that happen, and a lot of back and forths. But the story is so extraordinary that I think that had a lot to do with it. And my previous work, a short that I did, acted as a sort of great showpiece to sort of, give them an idea of what my style was. And that short was very inconvenient to make, but that has opened more doors for me than any other project I've ever done. And that was the one that was the least convenient to make. So, when in doubt, just make the movie.
That should be on a t-shirt.
Yes, it should.
Nice to meet you. I see Kennard, Washington, D.C., writer, director, and some editing. Hi, Kennard. Anyone else wants to introduce themselves? Okay, there will be an opportunity to again, but since we do have most people here, I'm assuming, we're gonna go ahead and start. Hi, Tyrone, nice to meet you. We're gonna go ahead and start with introductions on who we are, who you're speaking to, and why we do what we do. So to start, welcome everyone. If you're not familiar, I'm Brittany Franklin, the founder and president of Minorities in Film, also known as MiFILM. And we are a collective of BIPOC and people with disabilities in film, TV, and media. We curate educational and accessible programming for talent discovery and talent success. Ultimately, we teach you how to advocate for yourselves in times it's the hardest to do so. And this is our first office hours of the year. We had it way back in 2020. It was later in the evenings, but now we're coming back by popular demand so that we can kind of join together virtually and answer the pressing questions or vent or talk about things that have been on our mind to advance our stories forward. And today I'm joined with Rachael and Edward, the founders of Next Found Artists, which is an amazing, amazing platform that's going to be available to all of you soon. If you read our newsletter that goes out monthly, I did a recent spotlight on Rachael and all of the amazing work that she's doing. So Rachael, Edward, I don't know what order you want to go in, but feel free to introduce yourselves and let us know where you're based and why you started Next Found.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction. Thank you so much for having us. We're very excited to be here and share a little bit more about who we are, about Next Found Artists, and how we can, help you guys be able to share your work with communities and be able to continue doing what it is that you love to do. And love the fact that you're coming back and that we're the first one. So absolutely, we're going to start it with a bang. I am Rachael. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Next Found Artists, and I'm based in Jersey City, so right outside of New York City.
I am Edward, the CTO, the nerd basically who builds the product for Next Found Artist.
Yeah, and we I'll go into a little bit more about Next Found Artists and what it is that we're doing and who we are and why it is that we build what we are building. So growing up, I was the person who, I'm sure that, all of us here, you kind of have two people when you're watching film growing up, right? Like you're either the person who's sitting right in front of the TV who was like obsessed with watching and consuming as much as you can, or you're the one who is kind of walking around with the camera, trying to be like making the next film, writing the next film, producing the next film. I was the kid who was sitting in front of the TV and I was trying to consume as much as I could. And what it was that I was actually doing was trying to find sort of a sense of belonging, try and find a sense of community, try and understand feelings that I couldn't necessarily articulate. And there's a term for that, and it's actually called cinema therapy. And I self-induced that at 6 years old. And when I couldn't find what it was that I was looking for, my love of film and my love of media kind of elevated into me aspiring to want to be a screenwriter. And so I would write story after story, trying to kind of understand what it was that I was looking for that wasn't represented. And at age 11, I realized what it was that I was looking for and what all my stories were about. And they were about same-sex couples having a happy ending, because that was something that I needed to know was possible that I didn't see that was represented in mainstream media. And came up with this idea that I wanted to be able to create a safe space where all communities could feel a sense of belonging through the power of art. And, fast forward, it's 2024, and still 75% of consumers don't feel represented in mainstream media. And met Edward, who, I shared this idea with him, and both of us were really being able to kind of expand on what this idea meant, expand on how we could provide something that was beneficial for both filmmakers and for communities to feel that representation, for communities to feel that sense of belonging, for consumers to feel a sense of belonging and also understood. And that is what we are excited to be able to share with you guys a little bit more about how we took this idea, really built upon it, and what it is that we are launching in June.
Yay, I love that term, cinema therapy. I feel like so many of us in this meeting, but also in this industry, can relate that the fact that we're creating films is kind of healing and therapeutic, because we're telling stories that we don't necessarily get the time to just sit and tell to people. And so I love that you started as a filmmaker and then now you're going into tech. And I feel like there's a lot of change happening in the industry when it comes to distribution, streamers, platforms, TVOD, all those things. And this conversation is a hot topic. So I want to segment this off by starting with the different areas of how we can navigate those processes, and how everyone here who has films currently ongoing or they're crowdfunding for or they're developing can include this into their distribution. So understanding the alternative distribution channels, right? Share some insights on that. Like, what's the intel? What's the most effective, in your opinion, alternative distribution channels that filmmakers may not traditionally consider or have considered, and they're kind of just making a way now?
Yeah. I think that this can go into so many different directions, because I think that we're all taught that the end all be all is to sign with a large studio or to sign with a large distributor. That to everyone is like getting that accolade is like the means that you've won, but it doesn't stop there. So for, once you sign on with, like, say, a Netflix or an Amazon, that's fantastic and that's great. And you can be on that platform. But 99% of the time, it's hard for your films to actually be shown to consumers unless you're doing the marketing yourself. So it's actually more work that is for those filmmakers. So I think that some of the alternative solutions that people are kind of trying to decide right now is, one, do I sign it with a large distributor, or do I go for a self-distribution? And if I go with self-distribution, what does that look like? Or the worst part, do I do nothing with it? Which unfortunately happens quite often, where a lot of filmmakers, they put it on the shelf and they go on to the next project, when there is a home for all work and it should be shared. And we're looking to be able to help bridge that gap between feeling like you have to sign with this large organization that is not going to give any love to your project, or it's not going to help your communities, or it's not going to showcase the work properly, or feeling like you've now done this amazing job with a piece of work, you put it on self-distribution, but then that's an entire another project that you have to now take on, that's taking you away from some of the other work that you want to be working on, or even worse, not sharing it at all.
Right. So I see some intros coming in. A lot of people are working on things. So I want to popcorn it over to the audience, right? Let's get your questions in there and also your introductions. And we're going to tailor this quick segment to distribution channels. Any questions that you have about the lack of understanding, or, some insights on things that you're investigating or you're not sure about alternative distribution channels. Anyone wants to go? Oh, I see Angelos has a question, but anyone wants to go first?
So I think it would also be helpful, and you guys correct me if it's wrong, for me to share our backgrounds in the film and the streaming industry as well, and why, yes, we are lover of films, and yes, we do want to be able to amplify those who are often overlooked or undervalued in mainstream media, which is actually our mission. So
Mhm.
our mission is to be able to amplify those who are underrepresented ultimately, and be able to find and build their communities and share their art with their communities, and for consumers to come in and be able to find the communities that they resonate with and be able to consume the work and art that really resonates with them. So yes, I grew up aspiring to be a screenwriter. I also studied film and I also worked in production and in the film industry. And as a consumer feeling lack of representation, I can probably feel that this sentiment is going to be felt across every single one of you as well. Is that the lack of representation throughout the entire creative process is even more alarming. So when you don't have diversity throughout the entire creative process as well, you are not allowing for new perspectives and new understandings of cultures, of communities, of diversity to be incorporated into films. Therefore, people aren't who majority of people, yes, they turn to film to be entertained, but they also turn to it to learn and to feel connected. And if you're not allowing for new perspectives, you're not allowing for people to learn about diversity and new cultures and new communities as well. So it's ultimately causing for all of society to not be super open or accepting of these individuals, which is where our platform is. Yes, it's a distribution platform and a streaming platform for solely independent filmmakers to be able to amplify those voices and those stories and those communities underrepresented, but it's also, um, to have that integration of diversity throughout the entire creative process, from the behind the scenes, from the actual starring in it to post production, to be able to share that art with the communities. I'll let Edward touch quickly on his background.
Yeah, so I think I kept thinking about a word here is ignored, right? So let me tell a story here. So my background is in NBC Universal with their Peacock streaming platform. So I spent 2 years working there on their recommendation systems. This is basically building an algorithm that can resurface contents to the users, right? And the goal of that is really trying to promote diversity of contents and trying to personalize and making different kind of screens and different recommendations, showing different contents for each individual users, right? But the problem I'm seeing on that platform is there is an editorial process that's deliberately trying to ignore or suppress certain types of content. So one example will be the Hispanic type of contents, right? So at some point, NBCU acquired a bunch of contents from their Telemundo TV stations, right, from South America, and they put that on Peacock, and it was doing really well for certain series, but even for so some of those series are made into top 10 most popular contents during several months, but still, despite these contents are performing really well, the editorial team decides not to put a spotlight on these contents. So my story here is, I will say, if a content is doing well, then we should put a spotlight on it, right? We should promote it rather than ignore that or letting other people to ignore that. So we should showcase all contents in a fair way, and that's why I joined Rachel's company, right? Trying to build a better platform. One is I want to provide a better experience to the users on the website, right? Collecting better data so it can benefit the artists when they're trying to do market research. They can tell what kind of contents are doing well or how their contents are doing if they decide to put their content on our platform. And also want to build a better recommendation system that more fairly recommend things to the users, so the users can discover the contents better. And we're also giving the users more control on what they want to see, rather than relying solely on editorial decision or some executive decision on what to show to the user, right? Oftentimes, if a content is their in-house production, they get more promotion than other contents with smaller production company.
Right, thank you. I do see some questions coming in. I feel like we touched on a little bit in your explanation, Edward, as well. But if we can expound of, let's start with Angel. What does your distribution model look like? Shorts, features, podcasts. I know
Yep.
you briefly touched on it, but yes, go ahead.
Yep. So just to kind of showcase, like we'll talk about the platform itself. So we really listen to what are some of the pain points within the actual industry itself. And we worked with a ton of just independent filmmakers to really understand how we could be very beneficial from our platform right from the get-go. So our three main differentiators that we say is the fact that we are non-exclusive, we do not take ownership, and we assist with the marketing. So what that means and how this kind of combines with Edward's brilliant brain of being able to take the data and decentralize it and be able to provide the consumers with a much more connected experience. And why we are saying communities is because we're no longer focusing on overarching topics. So it's not going to be your drama, your comedy, your thrillers. We're now focusing on community tags that are associated to the cast and the crew, as well as the content and the topics. So the communities that we have for some of the films that are signed up right now, some examples are Indigenous or women, or we have anxiety, we have motherhood, we have grief, we have political comedy. So these are the communities that we're like, that when we say community building and that we're giving the tools to both the filmmakers and to the artists, to the filmmaker, to the artists, and then to the consumers to be able to find and build, it's because that's how it is that you're navigating the platform, is based on the communities that resonate with you. And we're focusing on eliminating the endless scrolling so that once you identify the communities for you, the films actually are going to be filtered for you to be able to consume. And how like our tagline is like power the art that matters to you. And so how we're doing that is, one, to answer the question, we are, because we both identify as minorities, we believe in inclusivity for all. So we have shorts, we have features, we have documentaries, we have narratives, we have episodic, you name it, those are what we have. Unfortunately, at the moment, we are not doing podcasts, and we're not, I think that there was like still images that I think were in the chat, or someone else. Non-film related visuals. Okay, so the behind the scenes, so all of that is actually great because that's part of the marketing that we are including into when we say that we're assisting with the marketing. So every week we're doing a release schedule, and that in our release schedule is where we're going to be incorporating some of the marketing elements, such as the behind the scenes and like any introduction about the filmmakers. So people like follow like celebrity chefs, and they're the new like hot topic that they want to follow. We want people to follow artists now, and those can be their new celebrities. There's actually, I saw a company that said like creatives are the new athletes. Totally agree, totally getting on board. That's exactly what we're looking to do. So with the marketing effort, what we're doing every single week, we're also doing a newsletter where we're going to be showcasing the films that are being released each week. We're going to have like a little intro about the filmmaker, what was the inspiration behind the film. If it came from a partnership such as this one, we'll be highlighting this partnership in it. And then through our socials, we'll also be pushing out any of those, again, behind the scenes, great, any intros of the filmmakers or the team that you want to be pushing out to social, we'll be doing that as well. And the communities that you're looking to build. And then in our platform, you do get like prime real estate, because we do highlight in the actual platform. We'll say like this week's release, you'll see what was last week's release, as well as upcoming releases. So people will understand a little bit more about the film, the release of all that, and how people are going to be supporting it is that we're going away with the subscription model, because as it turns out is that people aren't loyal to these platforms because the content is not what they want to consume. So therefore, on average, most consumers have 3, if not more, different subscriptions because the content is not really resonating with them. And there's such high turnovers of it. So we're going back to, why not pay for what it is that you want to consume and for what it is that you want to view? So we are doing a pay-per-view model. So it's a VOD model where the consumers are going to be able to come in and rent it for 10 days. And it is going to, this is also the benefit of hopefully working with independent artists, that you guys own majority of it. So it will go back to supporting you guys versus going to, but again, if you have a distributor or a sales agent, we can talk about that, but this is how it would benefit the artist, is that it would be doing a pay-per-view. They would be renting it. And then once you go live onto our platform as well, you have access to what we are calling an artist portal, which is transparency into all of the data metrics behind people watching it, or also to the community engagement. So you're going to see the communities that you are associating with each of the films, and you're going to see how they're performing. And if you see like, oh, one is not performing well, switch it up and change it up and put in a different community. We will be double checking to make sure that the communities actually do time back to what is going to be in the cast and the crew, as well as the content and topics, and that you're not just taking the top communities that's performing within the actual platform. And then what we are hoping to do with this tool is, in about a year, we will be releasing this as a research tool for future works of art that the filmmakers will be working on. So you'll be able to be like, hey, my next film has these different communities in mind. Let me see this. Oh, that's also the thing. So we also have a feedback loop that while the consumers are watching the film, if there's a scene that really resonates with them, they'll be able to, it will be non-intrusive, but they'll be able to give a feedback. They'll click a little hard and that will be captured, and you'll get that data in your artist portal. But the research tool will also showcase the different scenes that are tied back to the communities, so that this is the research tool that you'll be able to then go back and see and being like, oh, like, I don't have that scene written in my script that identifies that community. Let me add that in because that seems to resonate very well. Does that answer the question? Because that was a very long answer for a very simple question.
Yeah, I feel like for the most part it does, but Trey, let us know if that was the answer to your question. I know there's a lot of creators here as well, people that are not just working in film, but they're working on other mediums and formats, looking for distribution methods. Geneva, I hope that answers your question about subscription as well. Yeah, so I think a lot of the things that come to mind, and we talked about this before when filmmakers are approached with all these different platforms for distribution, it's like, do I own it? How can I get them out of the fatigue of signing up and subscribing for all the things that exist out there? And then also, how do I tailor this method to my own project? And I know all of you guys probably have that question, but like, how do you go about tailoring or including next found artists to a distribution method, an independent distribution method at that, for, let's say, a short film or a documentary?
Yeah, great question. So we have a bunch of different works that are signed up with us, that some are, most of them have already done their festival runs, which is why we have access to them, and they didn't get picked up for distribution. So they, or a lot of them got their rights back from distribution, is how we also have a lot of our films. And then we also have partnerships with, right now, 10 film festivals. And then we are obviously growing those by the day, which is fantastic. And so what we are also doing with the partnerships from that is we are also helping to raise awareness of these film festivals for independent filmmakers to be, wanting to, if they want to showcase at festivals. This is also another way to get understanding of the different film festivals that they can be put into it. We do understand that some of them are obviously being like, you cannot premiere prior. So that is also, have to look at those guidelines, because we cannot be responsible for that. But because we're non-exclusive as well, we do, and our name is called Next Found Artists. We want to be able to help the artist be found. We want to be able to help the work of art be found. And so our whole point about what it is that we're doing through emphasizing the different communities with the consumers and with the artists is really being able to showcase that every single person matters, that every single person belongs through the integration of the communities. Does that answer that question?
Yes, and also since you talked about a lot of film festivals do not accept films that have been previously screened, what are other considerations that filmmakers should be thinking about right now, or factors to consider when deciding between different distribution outlets?
Yep. We've had a lot of feedback from artists themselves, that especially first-time filmmakers, which is also very heartening or disheartening, that they feel like if they get an offer for distribution and that it's like 70 or 80%, that they have to take it. That's also extremely disheartening, that you put all of your hard work into a piece of art, and then you feel like this is the only option left to do, and then I don't want to say always, but it does sometimes just go into a catalog and it doesn't get the true love or recognition or tools to be able to have the ability to help it succeed. So, I mean, it's great if you can. I think there's so many different avenues for distribution, and just finding the one that makes the most sense to you, to feel comforted, to feel like it's truly reaching the consumers and the communities that it's meant to reach. And I would just say, if you believe in it, don't let someone else tell you what is best for it. Do what you think is going to be best for you and for your piece of work and art, and for your community ultimately.
Yes, I love that, because a lot of the filmmakers are also targeting specific communities. But is anyone currently working on a project that is, or they plan to have an impact campaign? So they're targeting a specific audience and has a specific cause that would benefit from features like Next Found Art has. And we also brought this up in our conversation, where I was like taking in the gist of everything that you're going to solve. And I'm saying, oh, it's like YouTube meets Netflix.
Yeah,
Right?
we're social meets streaming, is how we say
Right.
it.
And I love that, because you get to have the insights you need at every point of your film to help it reach the audience that you need. So any questions about finding your audience for a project that you currently have, and a specific audience that you want to pinpoint or highlight in your films for filmmakers? If you have those questions, just raise your hand, or if you have another question, type it in the chat. So what are you guys working on, and what's your audience?
On that, I will, while we're waiting for things, I will say that we have so films that have come back. For example, we're working with a feature who is getting the rights back in the fall. They're doing a theatrical release in the fall, and then they're going to stream with us for Hispanic Heritage Month. And this film was made in 1995, so films are timeless. And that's the whole real point about what it is that we're looking to be able to share and amplify, is the fact that if you have the tools to be able to share a film or a piece of art with a specific community, then it should always be available to resonate. So that's really, I'll leave that.
Shanalina, is that how I pronounce it, or did I pronounce it wrong?
It's Annalena. Thank you.
Nice to
Hi.
meet you.
Thank you so much for having this webinar today. I'm currently working on a project called Promised Land, and the audience are American patriots, which tends to be a somewhat hidden group for some reason. I'm not sure, but they are. So trying to figure out a distribution plan for how to get to those folks, other than hitting up like newsletters, you know what I mean, and newspapers, or Instagram groups that they follow?
Yeah, great question. So, from a consumer standpoint for how we are reaching audiences is that we are delivering the message that everyone matters, not everyone belongs, and that there is a space for everyone. So we are just saying that there is like through our platform that there is something for everyone and that all communities belong. And then once they come in, being able to specifically identify those communities in their profile and through engagement is how the film would be then filtered for them and showcased for them. So for us to like, we're not specifically seeking out being like, okay, like let me now showcase to this group or this community of audience, but we're really saying that there's something for everybody. And then it's also the ability for people to come in and you may think that that's who your audience is, right? But you may find that there's going to be a different community who actually more so resonates with that film. That's something that is also going to be interesting and fun to learn. Does that answer that question?
It does. I guess my follow-up question would be, is that with politics aside, or is that inclusive of something for everyone, including different political views?
Oh, it's regardless of, so all that we say from our platform, which is going to be across all different, like every single streaming distribution platform from a legality standpoint, we do not allow for hate speech. That's really it. But there is different political views that is going to be across each different films, across each different communities. But there is still a place for everybody.
Gotcha. Thanks.
I would say, and also to expand on that, a lot of times when we look at our target audience and how to reach them, we may not know exactly what are those avenues that we can reach them in. They fall within subgroups or groups that aren't necessarily reflected in data. So when we utilize distribution methods and online platforms, TVOD, pay-per-view, when you're deciding on posting something somewhere, I would say, what is the generalized tags, right? Like, what are the other niches that are happening within your film so that the people that you actually want to target are finding your film versus you finding the people you want to target? And I know it sounds contradictory, but no matter what we decide online is similar to YouTube, right? We might post something on YouTube and we say, I want to reach an audience that loves skateboarding, or I see somebody like diversity in outdoors. So we might put a title like diversity in outdoors, or we might think that we have to post this film in diversity in outdoors magazines or publications. But sometimes there's something else. There's something else about the nuance and the intricacies of being a person of color outdoors or being a Black man in outdoors that is touched on in your film. So you might say, the type of sunscreen outdoors. Those are the things that we're trying to highlight when you're using platforms that you can get your data from, is that you don't have to know. And it's okay to not be a strategist, target your audience, but put it there so that you can get the insights you need to find the people that your film is meant to reach. And again, we can like go on and on about this. And I know it's like really difficult because I started out being confused as well on, I just want to make sure I hit deaf Black women, but like that seems to be a lot of a specific race that are deaf, and I want to make sure that I'm getting to the right people. So yeah, I feel like that's constantly a conundrum, and hopefully can figure it out. Geneva says, working on a short film, support diversity in outdoors. I would like to partner with orgs that are focused on this mission, but not sure how to start. Any tips? Just to clarify, are you saying you're not sure how to start outreach, or are you not sure how to share your film with them? Outreach. Okay, not sure how to start with outreach. Any tips? Rachel, do you have any tips for partnering with organizations?
So are you saying more like you want to be able to create an impact campaign through people viewing your films?
I don't want to speak for you, but it's
That's all right. Hey, so yeah, hi, my name's Geneva, and I've been working on a short film about an Afro-Latina who goes camping, and it's a grounded comedy, but ultimately the mission is to just promote feeling comfortable in the outdoors, feeling comfortable exploring, and just sort of what are the normal obstacles that anyone would encounter. And I'm in early stages of production, so I think the question came up just a minute ago about social impact campaigns, and it does feel like a project that would really fit in with the mission of a lot of different orgs that I already follow, that I was already researching to kind of inform the script. And so just thinking ahead about audience, and if it were to end up on your platform in the future, like how could I set it up for success later down the line? And like conceptually, I totally get it. Like, okay, you partner with, Color of the Outdoors, or, North Face has a whole effort that they're doing as well. And like, but breaking that down into steps or processes that I could actually wrap my brain around, like that's where like I get kind of lost. And like, how do you even partner? How do you even reach out apart from like hiring an actual like impact producer, or whatever the official title is, like kind of just doing it wearing multiple hats? So yeah.
Yeah, great question. And we have had conversations with impact organizations about how we could also incorporate that. But that would be a feature down the line that we would need to. And again, our platform is, we say that this is for filmmakers by filmmakers. So like, we're also looking for what would be beneficial for filmmakers in general, so that we can start to incorporate for later down the line for different features. So we've heard this before. So this is definitely something we've looked into, that it's on our radar. It's not part of the integration at this moment, but it's something that if we continue to hear that this is something that would be beneficial, then we'll definitely look to increase. Right now, the solution that we are looking to amplify that with would be through the newsletter, being able to kind of highlight some of these really mission or the impact that we're looking to raise awareness of. And then if there's like a link that you would want us to kind of drive to in the newsletter or through social as well, that we can incorporate, or just like a logo, be like, here are some of the things that we can put on our socials, being like, here's different organizations that we want to be able to amplify the impact of this film for. We have 2 other films that have done the same exact thing like that. So there's one for like abortion awareness, and then I forgot the other one. But yeah, this is we've heard this before as well. Does that answer your question?
I also want to
Yeah,
add,
so you guys are, oh, go ahead.
you can go ahead. I just want to add a little bit what Rachel said.
Yeah, so I guess there's already like it's already in the works to have multiple people kind of connected to the promotion, and like actually, I don't know exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
But the project, yeah.
So underneath the project, like we do have like awards and festivals, and we could also like add on to that like organizations, if that's something of interest, that you would just like highlight, and we'll show you what we mean by in the platform where it like says the info. There's a section that says like awards, festivals, organizations, like whether, and we're highlighting again like through the partnerships that the films are being submitted through. You can also add in like organizations that this would impact for, but we also are in conversations with impact organizations that if you click on a button, it would drive to being like, how can I help or make a difference for this specific sort of impact?
Yeah. So we have several venues, right, for promoting your content. If you decide to put your content on our website, so every week we release certain number of films, and then each of those films will be put in a spotlight. So it'll be a biggest part of your screen will be occupied by your film, essentially, or one of the films that's released this week. So you're being put under the spotlight, and then in the details detail page of that movie, you can put in as much description, right? So description meaning free text, right, that describes what is your film about, what kind of ideas you're trying to promote, right? And also tags, those are short descriptions, words that allows the user to discover your content, right? So that's within the website. I'm not sure, I forgot if we mentioned this before, but we have weekly newsletters, and we also would like to interview the filmmakers, right? And then put these clips on social media. And within that interview, that's also opportunity to promote this piece of content, as well as, you know, raising any kind of awareness you need to raise alongside the film. And then we have, right, the connections with film festivals that Rich already mentioned. Also planned on potentially enable a external link to donate for whatever cause, or even just to support the film itself, right? You can have a donation button. So that's another way.
Yeah, I feel like we're all visual people. So is there anything, like I saw that you just said we'll show how it look. Is there any way you can show us how it will look or present?
Right.
And I know while we're getting that up, I know that Geneva, you mentioned that you're currently in development. And as a producer that also works on impact campaigns while you're in development, in your initial outreach, all the great things that you're doing now, I'm sure you know the organizations that you want to pitch to. Have your pitch deck ready about why they can benefit in partnering with your film and what way you see that relationship happening. And that way, as you start those initial talks, by the time you get to distribution, whether you use Next Found Arts platform or if you're posting it on another platform, you'll have the opportunity to link them to the project. And we're going to show you that, but your outreach can be as simple as understanding what their mission is and how they want to address that mission or the solution that they are posing to their constituency, we say, and getting those conversations and understand what's going on with them. What do they need? What's the narrative of the film? You know, like how is it helping their demographic? And you can start that now. If you have any questions about that, you're still trying to mull over that, feel free to email me at MiFILM and we can figure out how to do that, because you're in your early stages and I'm sure now is the best time to start. Okay, let's go over to see some things.
Edward, are you able to share your screen?
Sorry, what's the ask there? Showcasing the data collection.
Oh, can you just share your screen and we'll show the platform? So we'll be able to show them what it looks like.
Yeah. Right, let me know if you can see.
Yep.
The dashboard was actually a different website. I haven't integrated them together yet, but this is the main platform we have, right? So as I said, that's the spotlight carousel, basically, right? So every week we're going to release, this is called this week's release, right? So every week we're going to release a certain number of movies for promotion. You know, right below that, you're going to find the previous week's release and also the preview for next week, right? So if you click into that, this is the part I was talking about. Like you can write a really long text and describing, you know, what this movie is about. You can, you know, what kind of audience you're trying to reach, right? Being as descriptive as possible. So this is all searchable, you know, by this search bar. And that's the tags, right? So I think Rachel mentioned we're trying to build communities, and the community we're identifying is based on the tags that the filmmaker is making. So whichever community you're trying to reach for this film, right? You can put it in there. And then here, there's this feature called today's vibe, right? That's all the tags. So user can just click on the tags and find the movie they want to watch, right? Rather than scrolling endlessly. I think on Netflix or some other websites, you can scroll, keep scrolling, and you'll never be able to find anything that you want to watch. Here we just have minimum number of rails or carousels in there, but give a user an easy way to really find the community or find something that's interesting to them in a quick way. The other things are really utility, right? So watch history, so what you have watched, so the user can easily find what they watched before if they want to watch again or continue to watch, finish that show. Popular, it just based on what's popular among the users. So it's a way to do recommendation. And for you is really a mix of your community plus your past viewing behavior, and then also popularity. So it's a mix of different kinds of shows in there. So it's personalized for every single user, right? Based on the combination of those three factors. And then, yeah, let me show you real quick. So below that, right? So you have the title, description, tags, cast and crew. So we're going to add a lot more metadata, so-called, right? So we're going to include the film festivals you participated in, and also potentially any links you want to link externally outside of this website. And here's another array of recommendations. So if you if you trying to reach, let's say, outdoor, right? This is about picnic. So this is my own little video there. Then this rail is going to show other movies that's related to picnic or outdoor activities, right? So it's really forming a array of community. So you can find all the contents, or I guess most of the contents, through this rail to further expand your outreach on this topic.
And so if you press play really quickly, well, I just want to see if it has the heart. Yep, there you go. So you can see like the heart on the right-hand side. That's where we can, it's non-intrusive again, but we will be capturing the scene that really resonates with the consumers. And it will be available for you guys in your artist portal.
Yeah.
This is so interesting because it really lends itself, like you said, we were talking about in the beginning, to community, especially when we have films that are being ushered into an alternative distribution outlet. Sometimes somebody else's film can lead you to another person's film, and then that other person's film. And in that way, you're finding even more expanded audience than you ever thought you could have. Just by that synergy and the shared themes or topics. And also what's cool is MiFILM is one of the partnering organizations that is on Next Found Artists. So if you have a film that falls into our mission of BIPOC and disabled, I see somebody working on a project about autism, there's a form for you all to sign up and list your films. What are some things that they need to have in order to host their films on a platform, other than like the screener? What are other key assets or specs that they should keep in mind?
Yep. So we have a spec sheet that we can send on over just to make sure that it does, make sure that everyone has that. I think just the biggest key takeaways would be an actual MP4 of the video itself. And yeah, we want this to be very interactive. Like I said, this is for filmmakers by filmmakers. So you guys filling out the form and being able to implement the data, that is going to be super beneficial for you guys to also have a say in the different like communities that you are looking to reach and how it is that you want it to be identified. And then you'll have the tools to be able to see what is working, what isn't working, and have the recommendations to update it and be able to continue finding and building your communities. But also, you know, we are giving the option to be helping you guys out with marketing. So if you have marketing materials such as wanting to do a quick introduction or send on over the behind the scene photos, like we recommend you guys also leaning into this opportunity as well. So yeah, we want to help you guys be found, and we want to help the pieces of work and pieces of art be shared with all communities.
Yes, and for the last 5 minutes, any important questions that we didn't get to touch on for anyone in the chat or that's still with us on video? Oh, did you have a question, comment?
And we can send on over our emails as well if anyone has any questions, follow-up questions, wants to you know, dive in one-on-one, anything else. We're, like I said from the beginning, we don't bite. We're very nice, and we're happy to help answer any questions.
Right. You will receive the link to the form for minorities in film members who are interested in hosting their films on Next Found Artists. Also, information, if you're open to us sharing your emails with Rachel and Edward, you can type your emails down below, or I will share them over for those who register so that you can sign up for updates or information as needed. Yes, you can access the recording. I feel like once we stop this, you'll all get an email about the transcript of the recording. Yeah, and I hope you guys have at least gotten some information about a new platform that's entering the market and is poised to really set a lot of you guys up for success, especially the filmmakers who are trying to find a really niche audience and also build a community of filmmakers of like-minded films, of content that actually is not going to get lost in the void of remakes and Marvel. So I really want you guys to consider this as something that you want to include in your distribution. Also, Rachel and Edward have continuously mentioned they don't bite. If there's something that's private that you didn't want to share in the recording, feel free to reach out. And also, if there's something that you're looking for on the platform that you didn't hear here, feel free to send that over to them and start a conversation. Thanks, Kenneth. I hope. Sweet. 3 minutes left on the clock. I saw some introductions. I saw some emails dropped. If you are trying to connect with other filmmakers, feel free to, I'm going to leave this meeting up a little bit so you can screen grab each other's contact information. And then when you are all done, feel free to sign out. And if you have any additional questions, I'm going to drop in Minorities in Film email so you can reach out on our next office hour and what you would like to learn about and who you would like to hear from.
Thank you all so much for coming and for having us. And thank you, Brittany, for putting this together.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Cara. Also, 2 minutes left. Do you guys want to just drop in the Instagram handles for Next Found Artists?
Yep.
As well as a link to the website or the landing page they can find for now, and your email. Wait. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to copy and paste that.
Yeah, so we have an email that's dedicated to artists, so you can write that to that email, and then both of us will see it.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, everyone. And with that, I hope you enjoy your Thursday, aka Friday Junior, and you have an amazing, amazing weekend. For anyone that's working on something or need assistance at all, whether you are having issues looking for jobs at the moment or gigs, or you want to brush up your resume or just learned about impact producing, feel free to reach out to me and we'll connect you with the person that can help you advance your career. So thank y'all. Nice meeting you. Thank you, Edward and Rachel, for being here, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.